3 National News with the latest developments in the Middle East. A special report. Crisis in the Persian Gulf.
Good afternoon. New Zealand troops may soon find themselves in the Gulf, although Prime Minister Geoffrey Palmer says it may only be as non-combatants. The Emir of Kuwait has asked his country to support the US-led blockade of Iraq.
As the multinational force continues its build-up in the Gulf, New Zealand has, for the first time, been asked to lend a hand. The deposed Emir of Kuwait has called on this country to take such military or other steps necessary to maintain and strengthen the economic stranglehold on Iraq. The plea was passed on to Geoffrey Palmer by the American ambassador in Wellington today.
It doesn't seem to me that a combat role is appropriate for New Zealand, but I do think we have got to make sure that we support the international effort so that the United Nations sanctions work.
New Zealand's frontline troops, aircraft and ships have been described as unsuitable for the kind of high-tech desert war that could break out here. So Mr. Palmer's now talking in terms of sending support forces.
There's a possibility of medical teams, there's a possibility of transport, there's a whole range of possibilities, communications, that sort of thing. A lot of things you could do. The real issue is which are likely to be the most helpful in the particular circumstances that obtain.
Army medical teams, engineers, radio operators, transport trucks and planes are now a likely option for New Zealand's contribution to the multinational force. Cabinet will decide what it could send to the Gulf on Monday. Bill Ralston, 3 National News.
With his war council in Baghdad today, he issued a statement calling President Bush a liar and warning American relatives of GIs that thousands of Americans will return home in coffins if the U.S. and Iraq go to war. In Kuwait City, Americans who survived the Iraqi invasion but have not been able to leave Kuwait were ordered today to report to a downtown hotel for their own protection against unspecified threats and do it within 2 hours. The Iraqis demanded that all 2,500 Americans in Kuwait assemble at the International Hotel. American Ambassador Nathaniel Howell protested the order as impractical and unjustified. State Department spokesman Richard Boucher again refused to call the Americans hostages, but said the U.S. is concerned.
Of course, all would be better, all Americans, all foreigners, if they were allowed to leave, and we will continue to work towards that goal.
President Bush continued to respond mildly to the plight of the Americans.
Anything that compels individuals to do something against their will would, of course, concern me.
Late word from the State Department, few Americans are complying with the order to move to the hotel. But the British government, which received a similar order for 4,000 British citizens, did. The BBC World Service began broadcasting advice to Britons to report to the Regency Hotel, carrying food and water. And for relatives of the trapped Americans, new uncertainties.
He's known to turn poison gas on his own people. So why would he care to shoot ours?
While no one here in Washington will actually say the word hostage, there are private fears that that is just what the Americans and the British are becoming, pawns to be interned in Baghdad and later traded away for an end to the crisis.